Good morning. It's Saturday morning. It's weigh-in day. Yeah, weigh-in day. It's been a successful week. So in my mind, it becomes, if I did everything exactly as I planned it, right? I should have a nice loss on the scale this week, right? But it just never happens that way. Look, it does not go as you think it should go. It never will. It never has. And the real thing that needs to stop is the idea that you're doing something wrong because it's not going the way you think it should go, right? So the idea that all of this happens in time, and really what needs to change is your behavior. Overall, consistently, it needs to change. You need to become essentially a new person in order to create the life you're looking for. And so you have spent, 10, 20, whatever, 30 years doing things as you do them now, right? To put you in this position, to put you in a position to need a weight loss program. You've been doing all of these things to build up to this moment, right? All of this is behavior that you have cultivated for all of that time, okay? And you are essentially trying to reverse all of that. And so many of us get caught up in the time it takes to achieve the results. But none of us ever thinks about the time put in to achieve the problem, okay? The time invested to achieve the problem has to be taken into consideration, because if it's harder to lose than it is to gain, that means it will take you longer to lose than it will to gain, okay? So if my situation, if I've been working on this for 15 years, then I can't expect it to be gone in less than at least that, right? If it's harder to lose. But we're so caught up on results, where the emphasis needs to be about the behavior. You have to unlearn everything that you've taught yourself is okay. You have to basically relearn life on a major scale. And this is essentially like, okay, if you just woke up and you haven't done anything yet, like kind of a thing, right? And you just decided, I'm going to part my hair the opposite way today. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and just do that. Go ahead and part your hair the opposite way, and go see how weird it feels to just do something different. You normally push your hair straight back, push it all forward. You normally part your hair to the right, part it to the left. Just see how weird something as simple as that feels. So tell me that changing your behavior that you have cultivated for 20 plus years, 10 plus years, whatever the number is, cultivated behavior is cultivated behavior, whatever the number is. And you're just gonna today say, I'm doing everything the opposite. That just doesn't go that way. You're never going to be able to sustain that. So the changes have to be coming once at a time, measurably, to do it consistently, right? And so the idea is, what one thing do you know you can do, right? To achieve consistency in whatever it is. What is the one thing you know you can do consistently for the next 8 weeks? Just think about that for a second. What's one thing I know I can do consistently for the next 8 weeks? And let's say you're sitting on the couch all the time and you're not going for walks, you're not doing any exercise whatsoever. Well, let's decide. How many minutes can you walk? How many minutes? You say, I could walk 15 minutes. Okay, fine, great. You walk 15 minutes. How many days can you walk? For sure, definitely. How many days can you walk? Oh, I could walk 3 days. Okay, so you're going to walk for 15 minutes a day, 3 days a week for the next 8 weeks. And in 8 weeks, you will have a recalibration time. You will say, okay, I achieved this for 8 weeks. what am I adding? So at the end of those 8 weeks, on the 9th week, you are essentially maintaining what you've created and you're adding something to it. Now, whether you're adding extra minutes, you're going to do 3 days a week for 20 minutes, or 4 days a week for 15, whatever it is, you're building on what you created. This is how foundational change, lasting change, not only comes and stays. Because that's why I always say, this is not about achieving a scale result. This is about becoming the greatest version of you. Because you can achieve a scale result, but you'll never be able to keep it being the person you are today. That's the reason you aren't at that scale number now, is because the person you are today cannot keep that scale result anyway. So if this becomes about becoming the greatest you, if this is all a journey about becoming the greatest version of yourself, then that journey also includes the idea that you basically have to do these things over in a time period so long that they become second nature. Okay? Because the greatest version of you achieved the result of the scale by a byproduct of changing their life. It is not the aim, it's the byproduct, right? So the scale number you're dreaming about today is the achieved based on you concentrating on becoming a better version of yourself behaviorally. And so if we start looking at this as behavior change versus weight loss, it will start to gear you in the right way. When people just own stuff like, I'm an emotional eater, you weren't born an emotional eater. So the fact that you're, at some point when you tell the world, I'm an emotional eater, eventually you're owning it. You're saying, I'm an emotional eater and that's me, that's who I am. So it was a learned behavior. Emotional eating is a coping mechanism when people are trying to avoid a problem so deep or whatever that they can't bear to handle it. So they do what gives them comfort in that moment. So eating food becomes a coping mechanism. It also is exactly the catalyst to all addiction. When people have a bigger problem and they're not facing that problem, the addiction is the byproduct of not facing the problem. You don't just become an alcoholic. You don't just become addicted to cigarettes and all these things, addicted to drugs. You don't just become that. You're seeking comfort, and people are using food for that same thing. And this is why you often hear me say that food is just as much a drug as alcohol, as drugs, as nicotine, all of it. It's just as much a drug, especially now today in the lab experiments that come in wrappers in our grocery stores. They're just as much a drug as anything else. And really what needs to change is the fact that you're owning the fact that you're an emotional eater. Like it's part of you, like it can't be changed. Like it wasn't learned, you were born with it. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And society, you live in a society, unfortunately, that allows you to believe these things because they would rather believe it's normal to be an emotional eater than to face a hard truth and say, there's something about me I need to change. Right? So instead, people like me who are pointing all this out, people like me would get attacked for calling it out and saying that I'm a body shamer or some stupid nonsense like that. But in reality, I'm calling attention to the actual problem. And if you ever really, really want to become the greatest version of you, that's why I had to separate this from weight loss. Because the term I want to lose weight can mean 1,000 different things now. And becoming the greatest version of you is the most disciplined, look, let me just say it like this. It is God's version of you. The version that God intended to walk this earth, that's what the greatest version of you is. Okay? And becoming that person, becoming that greatest version of you and learning all the behaviors that go with that person will bring the weight loss you are dreaming about today. whatever you're doing, enjoy yourself. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.